Hello everyone. Welcome to today's story. What if your ex-mother-in-law suddenly returned, begging to see the child you swore to protect? Was it regret or a hidden plan far more dangerous? Tuna thought she'd found peace with Alex, but could she truly escape the shadows of her past? And what choices will change everything? Stay with us until the end to uncover the truth. Don't forget to subscribe and help us reach 1,000 followers for more dramatic stories like this. The late afternoon light spilled gently across the quiet room, soft and golden, as if the sun itself wished to rest in this fragile peace. Henry, the little boy, nestled comfortably in his grandmother's arms, finished his milk with a serenity that seemed older than his years. His tiny breaths rose and fell like ripples on a still pond. The grandmother's voice, tender yet edged with something unsaid, murmured praises of how well he ate, how obedient he was, as though convincing herself that her care could replace what had been broken long ago. When Tuna and Alex entered, the air shifted subtly. A smile bloomed on Tuna's face, tired but warm, as she greeted the woman she once called family. Alex's presence filled the room with quiet steadiness, his eyes resting on Tuna with a softness reserved only for her. Conversations flowed. The baby had eaten, the baby had slept, the baby was good. Yet beneath those words, the silence pressed, heavy with history. The grandmother suggested Henry stay the night, her voice coaxing, her eyes lingering too long. Tuna shook her head gently, firm but polite. The farm was waiting. Chickens, pigs, the daily rhythm that anchored her fragile world. Alex supported her choice with calm strength, offering gratitude for the care given, but drawing an invisible line of boundary. The moment lingered, stretched, as the grandmother's gaze clung to Henry. It was the look of someone both cherishing and claiming, a look that unsettled Tuna's heart. As they prepared to leave, the grandmother's smile did not fade, but it carried the weight of longing too deep to be dismissed. In that golden hour, beneath the quiet lullabies of dusk, the seed of unease was quietly planted. The road back to the farm stretched ahead, winding through fields washed in the silver light of the moon. Inside the car, silence lingered, not heavy, but intimate, like the hush of a night that listens more than it speaks. Tuna held Henry close, his small body radiating warmth against her chest. Her gaze followed the blurred horizon, where the memories of her past and the uncertainties of her future seemed to merge. Beside her, Alex's hands rested on the wheel, steady, confident. Yet his heart throbbed with words unsaid, with emotions too vast for the quiet night. Finally he spoke, his voice deep, carrying both hesitation and hope. He reminded her of the promise she had given, that she had agreed to be his, not just in name, but in the fragile weaving of their lives together. Tuna turned to him, her eyes shimmering with the reflection of passing lights. There was gratitude, but also fear. Fear of believing too much, fear of letting go of the shield she had built through years of solitude and pain. Alex, sensing her unease, reached for her hand. His grip was firm yet gentle, a vow carved not in stone but in flesh, in heartbeat, in presence. "I will protect you," he whispered, eyes never leaving the road. "You and Henry. From now on, you are not alone." Tuna's lips trembled into a faint smile. She wanted to believe. She needed to believe. The moonlight cast their profiles in pale silver, like figures in a dream. Two souls caught between the scars of yesterday, and the fragile promise of tomorrow. And in the quiet hum of the car, a fragile hope was born, trembling yet luminous. The following days unfolded with a rhythm that seemed deceptively ordinary. At the farm, Tuna moved through the familiar rituals of life, scattering grain for the chickens, leaning over the pond to watch the fish ripple the surface, her hands marked by quiet labor. Each gesture was small, yet within it lay her determination to build a world of stability for Henry. She carried both tenderness and exhaustion, like a tree bending under the weight of its own fruit. Meanwhile, Alex's days were filled with business meetings, numbers, and negotiations. With Adam by his side, he walked through neat rows of grapefruit trees, their branches heavy with promise. Words about weight, price, and sweetness echoed in the orchard air, but Alex's thoughts often drifted elsewhere, to the farm, to Tuna's eyes when she smiled without realizing, to Henry's tiny hands clutching at his shirt. The success of his ventures seemed hollow, if not tied to the vision of a shared future. At night, Tuna sat quietly under the soft glow of a single lamp, folding tiny clothes or making notes about the farm's expenses. Her mind, though, wandered toward Alex, toward the way his words lingered like an anchor in her heart. Yet shadows still whispered, of abandonment, of betrayal, of the past that refused to loosen its grip. In their separate worlds, they moved like parallel lines, distinct yet drawn toward the same horizon. Both bore their burdens silently, but within each silence lay an unspoken yearning to merge, to heal, to finally rest in each other's arms without fear. The days were simple, the days were ordinary. Yet beneath that ordinariness, the tension of something unseen quietly stirred. The morning air was still when an unexpected knock broke the fragile calm. Tuna froze. Henry nestled against her shoulder as the door creaked open to reveal a figure she both recognized and dreaded, her ex-mother-in-law. Time had not softened the lines on the woman's face. They seemed carved deeper, etched with regret and unyielding pride. Her voice trembled with practiced gentleness as she pleaded to see the child. "He is my grandchild," she said, the words heavy with longing. But Tuna's heart tightened. Old memories surged back, of being abandoned when she needed care most, of cold words that had cut sharper than any blade. She shook her head, her tone firm yet restrained. "There is no grandchild here for you." Yet the woman did not leave. Her insistence grew, desperation painting her voice. She spoke of mistakes, of loneliness, of a son now locked away paying for his sins. For a moment, her eyes softened, the way they might have long ago, before cruelty had severed their bond. Tuna's resolve faltered. She relented just slightly, allowing her to glimpse Henry, but only from a distance. The baby stirred softly in his sleep, innocent, untouched by the storm of blood and betrayal around him. The grandmother's gaze clung to him as though he were salvation itself. But Tuna's body stood like a shield, her arms a silent barrier. The room grew heavy with silence. It was not a reconciliation, nor a forgiveness, only a moment where past and present touched, raw and unhealed. When the woman finally turned to leave, her steps were reluctant, her eyes lingering far too long. In that silence, Tuna's breath shook. She knew the past had found its way back, and it would not leave so easily. When Alex returned from his dealings, the farm was wrapped in the hush of twilight. He found Tuna by the doorway, her shoulders tense, her eyes carrying the weight of something unspoken. She hesitated, then confessed. Her ex-mother-in-law had come, pleading to see Henry. Alex's breath caught, the words hanging between them like a storm about to break. He stepped closer, his hand brushing against hers, firm yet tender. "Did she hurt you? Did she touch Henry?" His voice carried both fear and restrained anger. Tuna shook her head, but her silence afterward spoke louder than denial. "She begged," she whispered. "I let her look, only for a moment. But her eyes, Alex, her eyes were not just of sorrow. There was something else, something I cannot name." Alex's jaw tightened. He remembered the day he first saw the cracks in her story, the remnants of a family that had driven her away. He wanted to believe in repentance, but he knew too well how desperation could twist into obsession. "You're not alone anymore," he said firmly, his gaze locking onto hers. "If she comes back, if anything feels wrong, you call me. Promise me." Tuna nodded, though doubt still clouded her heart. She wanted to trust his strength, to lean into his promise. Yet, as the night deepened and Henry stirred in his sleep, she couldn't shake the image of those eyes, hungry, desperate, clinging. The silence that followed was not peace. It was a fragile shield, stretched thin, as if the walls of the farm were holding back something vast and dark pressing in from the outside. The farm lay under the silver hush of midnight. The only sound, the soft rustle of leaves outside the window. Tuna had finally lulled Henry back to sleep, his tiny chest rising and falling like the rhythm of a lullaby. Yet her heart remained restless, the memory of her ex-mother-in-law's eyes haunting every shadow in the room. Outside, unseen, another figure lingered. The old woman's footsteps pressed lightly against the earth as she moved closer to the house. In the moonlight, her face was carved in a blend of sorrow and determination. Regret had hardened into resolve. "He is my grandchild. I cannot let him slip away." The words echoed silently in her mind as her gaze fixed on the window where Henry slept. Inside, Tuna stirred uneasily. She rose, checking the door twice, her fingers trembling as she slid the bolt shut. Yet doubt gnawed at her. Could locks protect against bonds of blood? She pressed her forehead against the wooden frame, whispering to herself that Henry was hers to protect, that love, not bloodline, defined family. Across town, Alex couldn't sleep. The echo of Tuna's confession burned in his mind. He lit a cigarette on the balcony, watching the smoke dissolve into the night sky, his heart torn between business obligations and the urgent need to shield the fragile world he had begun to build with her. His gut told him the past was not finished, that shadows moved closer with every hour. And in the stillness, two women, one mother, one grandmother, stood at opposite edges of Henry's life. One holding on with fierce love, the other approaching with a hunger cloaked as longing. The silence of night trembled, fragile before the storm. Dawn arrived cloaked in a deceptive calm, painting the fields in soft gold. Tuna cradled Henry, his sleepy eyes barely open, his innocence unmarked by the currents pulling at their lives. Yet her heart trembled. The knock from yesterday still echoed in her chest. She knew it was not the last. On the path outside, footprints lingered in the soil, faint but fresh. Tuna froze when she noticed them, her breath catching like a thread pulled too tight. She came back, perhaps in the night. The thought sliced through her resolve, turning her fear into steel. When Alex arrived later, He found her sitting by the doorway. Henry in her arms, her gaze distant. She told him of the footprints, her voice barely above a whisper. His expression hardened, the weight of unspoken decisions pressing down. He wanted to take her away, far from the reach of a past that clung like ivy. But Tuna shook her head. "This is our home. I won't run anymore." He studied her, torn between admiration and fear. "Then we face it together," he said, his hand resting firmly over hers. In that moment, the unspoken truth rose like mist. Between past and present, between longing and love, between blood and choice, a battle had already begun. The grandmother's longing might twist into something darker, and Tuna's strength would be tested in ways she could not yet imagine. For now, silence held them. Not peace, but the fragile pause before fate demands its answer. And in that pause lay the lesson. Sometimes love is not just about holding close. It is about daring to protect, even against those who once called you family.
Tử Na sống bình yên với con trai Henry và Alex, người đàn ông luôn hết lòng bảo vệ mẹ và con cô. Nhưng sự bình yên nhanh chóng phá vỡ khi mẹ chồng bất ngờ xuất hiện, còn Thiết xin gặp cháu. Quá khứ đầy tổn thương khiến Tử Na vừa căng thẳng vừa chiếm giữ. Dù ban đầu từ chối, Tử Na cuối cùng cũng để cho bạn Henry nhìn Henry từ xa. Thế nhưng khi phát hiện dấu chân quanh nhà vào ban đêm, Tử Na nhận ra nguy hiểm đang gần đến giữa tình yêu và hiện tại. Và với Alex, bóng tối quá khứ, cô đứng trước sự lựa chọn sinh tử, bảo vệ con cô bằng mọi giá, ngay khi phải đối mặt với gia đình từng ruồng bỏ mình.